What's up, Raiders? I'm back with another Tea Party Titan event check-in video, guys. I'm feeling good. I actually got sleep. It was glorious. Woke up, had some delicious ass chili lime chicken. Y'all, I'm also feeling hype in Raid Shadow Legends because I had a dynamite shard pull last night. Pulling a couple, ended up spontaneously buying this pack, pulling, going, oh man, then buying that pack. Probably went a tiny bit overboard, but nothing too crazy. Overboard for me, that is, and my broke boy wallet. But guys, check this out. Look who is unlocked for your boy Vamp now. Oh my God. He looks sick, looks super cool. But I'm not gonna lie to you, if looks are on, the scale of priorities, they're way down here for me. I don't give a fuck. I do, but I don't, because this dude's kit is insane. Look at this, guys. Let's just start with his A1, his mediocre, his default attack. Attacks one enemy, 80% chance, books to 100 of decreased speed for 2 turns. If the target's a boss, well, let's just ignore 20% of their resistance. Damage based on defense. So I'm not aware of this guy doing a lot of damage, but damage based on defense just means that defense is the stat. He will do his little bits of damage as a support. It also means that he's kind of going to have his base stats skewed toward being a defense champion, which does make him more survivable, which is what I'm a little more concerned about than his actual damage from that stat. A2, attacks all enemies, 75 books to 100% chance of decreased accuracy and block buffs for 2 turns. Oh, by the way, still, if the target's a boss, we'll ignore 20% of the target's resistance. Can you say HYDRA? Can you say Chimera? Can you say anywhere in the game that's difficult to beat a late game or end game boss? A3, places 50% increased resist buff on all allies for 3 turns. That's right, not 2, 3. Also places perfect veil on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. That's insane, y'all. Like, honestly, the increased resistance makes resistance a borderline non-factor for sure at, like, let's say HYDRA, brutal and below, for most late game or end game builds, just because you have automatic resistance based on your great haul and maybe your area bonuses, and just some gear just has resist stats, right? So like, you're gonna have a little bit of resist on everybody no matter if you tried to get it or not. This is increasing it by a time and a half for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown after book. That's crazy. But the thing for me, guys, I'm even more interested in this perfect veil, because if you can get any kind of mechanic in the team where you either extend buffs, which is pretty easy, Mad Hatter does that, or you have somebody like Naya, who, this would have to be on manual, I think, so that might make it a little bit sketchy. But if you have anyone in the team that can reduce the cooldowns of a skill, and there are some champions like that I believe do, like, 1 turn off cooldowns for the whole team, then this dude can be throwing 2 turns of perfect veil up every 3 turns or so, or he can be throwing up 3 turns with a buff extender every 4 turns. Like, he's going to deal with the Head of Torment so well, guys. He's going to really protect the team from those true fears. And then his passive, as if he couldn't get any better, if an ally is under 2 or more buffs, increase their resistance by 50. Wait a second, so hold on. So he's ignoring a lot of resistance. Then he's got 3-turn increased resistance buff that goes on the team. And then if they're under 2 or more buffs, which, wait a second, he does 2 buffs, they get 50% resistance. If they're under 3 or more, easy to bring another champion. It's easy to get people under 5 buffs, to be honest with you. 3 or more buffs, increase their accuracy by 50. 4 or more buffs, their damage just goes up by 20%. I saw that, I was like, I've got to be asleep right now. Somebody pinch me and wake me up. Are you sick? Because this is a new champion for me, okay? He was not around. A bunch of Sylvan Watcher champions were not around when I left the game on my break. Y'all are probably getting really tired of me talking about the break, huh? But it's still relevant, y'all, because I didn't know who this dude was. This passive, and especially for me, that damage increase, y'all, that 20% is insane. On an enemy max HP champion, or like a big hex nuke or something like that, that's crazy. If there are multiple champions, only one will activate. That's okay, because 1, we only got 1, and 2, I think we'll be okay with the ridiculous amount of value this guy brings if we just have 1 activating. By the way, if we get a Feral, another one down the line, that motherfucker's not going on the same team. He's gonna be in a different team. This guy, a guy in my Discord chat said, like, basically, GG's, Nightmare Hydra solved. Oh my God, I'm so happy about that pull. I actually did get one other legendary pull, and that was Kaja, but I already had her. So Kaja the Rye is a duo for Timit the Fool right here. And she, every time I look at her, I feel like she gets better for Arena. So having 2 of her basically got me only the second faction guardian slot in Bannerlords, so the Bannerlords is kind of weak, but that's nice because adding that second slot gives Rhonda 10% extra attack. And for now, I don't have enough to worry about, you know, empowering Kaja, but it is nice to get dupes for that faction because I like only had one set of dupes on the account ever for Bannerlords. It's Lugan the Steadfast. So having another one of her, I don't know if she'll get built, but it was nice to have a good champion that I can then put in the faction guardian slot, you know, and get that extra tier to get the attack bonus. Anyway, that's about all I did out of pulling, you know, a couple spontaneous packs, whatever, gymming a little bit of shards. I was mostly trying to get good rewards in the Summon Rush for the Titan event while taking advantage of the Primal boost. And yes, I know it wasn't boosting chances for Mythical, but I was okay with, you know, an attempt at getting a Wall Master because he was one of the progressive chance champions. Unfortunately, I did pull a legendary from 2 types of shards, but did not get Wall Master. So anyway, I showed you guys the 2 I got right there, Feral and a second Kaja, dupe Kaja. But I kind of hate that you can't see. I was going to show you guys what I got. I got all the way up to the legendary masks and the legendary book after that. So at the end of this video, we going to be doing some relic crafting and we're going to have our fingers crossed. And I would love to get another Cat's Gaze. I really don't know. Like, I need some of that Nub Raids luck. Shout out Nubkex, because he got like, he's probably going on 7 to be honest with you, but I think he crafted 3 Cat's Gaze, not counting the one you can get from the event. But anyway, that's enough of that, guys. That was the longest intro that the channel has ever seen, and here goes the graphic. All right, guys, now that I remembered to do the perfunctory intro animation, just checking in on the Titan event. Another couple things that I'm feeling real good about in the game right now is, I think I showed you guys in a previous video, Mad Hatter was almost ready to go, and he is ready now, guys. He just needs mastery and a build. He's fully ascended. He was already 6-star 60 in the previous video. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. He's all skilled up. Mentioned that in the other video too, but got to get a good build on him. Probably going to spend a little time seeing like what I feel like would be the best set on him. And then past that, it's going to be probably just trying to give him a fast survivable build with, you know, the accuracy he needs or whatnot. Very excited about that. I also want to probably take advantage of figuring out specifically what nuker I want to have on the team to have the highest crit damage, because if I remember correctly, that's what his ally attack thing is. Yeah, right here. Ally with highest crit damage will team up and join the attack. So I want to make sure that I control that and don't just go like, I don't really know, like, you know, put nukers in and whoever attacks. That would be stupid. I'm going to decide who do I want to be the guy, and then that guy is going to have the highest crit damage on the team so that he's guaranteed to be the one. Even with me maybe like subbing in people back and forth, I want to have the person that I pair with Mad Hatter to make sure he always has the highest crit damage so that I know who's doing that attack. If you have the Mad Hatter, I suggest doing the same thing, because if you're like me, I don't know exactly what crit damage people have on them. Obviously, there's people that are built with it, people who you don't care about it, so the people that are built with it are always going to be higher than like a random support. Going in there and making sure that you get that extra 5% or tweak your build so that the guy you want to ally attack is actually the highest, go ahead and confirm that, guys, to get the most out of this value the Mad Hatter brings right here. I'm gonna go ahead and heart that so that he's in the rankings correctly with the weird sorting that Raid has based on these tags or whatever they're called. All right, the other thing is, I think that getting Feral puts a pause for me on Michinaki. Where is this boy? This Shadowkin boy right here. I still see him get a lot of use. I have not used him, and he doesn't bring like a super crazy mechanic, but this passive, which ironically, if you're current with the lore, back in the video where I pulled him, for some reason I glossed over this and I actually put a pinned comment because I was like, that was dumb, but this is really good part of his kit. I would almost say without this passive, he becomes like a little bit more underwhelming. If you have this passive in the same team as Hatter, I'm curious, does that mean that whenever Mad Hatter does his ability and the other champion with the highest crit damage, which won't be Michinaki, and if it was going to accidentally be, I would make sure that it wasn't, does that mean that Michinaki then has a chance to join off of Hatter's attack or off of the ally with highest crit damage? Because that just boosts him even more. It's very interesting, and I feel like that this is a guy that's kind of like mostly a debuffer. He doesn't have any like enemy max HP mechanics or any crazy like damage conditions that he can meet to do like crazy damage, like, you know, like a whisper or something like that. But I feel like that this guy might be one to just try to build in nuker type damage, obviously give him War Master mastery, and then see what he can do just constantly going in there, you know, averaged out 50% of the time doing ally attacks, like joining the attack. That could be a lot. Like even if you just get, what is it, a War Master proc 60% of the time, that could be a lot just from that, let alone if he's built with a little bit of damage. So say all that to say, I might kind of hold off on Michinaki to try to prioritize Feral because I just don't have the legendary books. I'm trying to put legendary books in He-Man for PvP. Then HYDRA's already booked up, but Feral just got pulled, has no books, and Michinaki, as you can see, has no books. So I'm like, ugh. I kind of probably want to get my team back farming a lot more damage in Nightmare. I had kind of like pulled back to Brutal since the HYDRA change really threw off my team, but I might put Michinaki on the back burner / bench him temporarily as a person who doesn't buy legendary books in order to prioritize Feral. Anyway, enough of that. Basically, guys, what you want to do right now is in the Titan event, we'll finally get to the main heart of the video, right? The Fire Knight tournament just went live. That one, I don't feel like that, because there's no faction restrictions and stuff, most of y'all are going to have a Fire Knight team. So like, obviously just do what you already know to do to farm, to get the most points. And if you want to prioritize gear, that's fine. But as far as I know, for the sake of the tournament, Fire Knight 20 is the best energy to points ratio. But obviously Fire Knight's a fantastic dungeon with some really good sets. So if you're like me, you're probably going to go, that's all right on the, you know, peak efficiency. I'd like to make sure I have a high chance to get really good gear. So for me, I'm probably actually going to be trying to work on my very first functioning Fire Knight hard team, because if I remember correctly, I don't have a single win on hard ever. Hard is just that. Like Fire Knight hard is difficult. So I ranked up a champion for this. I have a couple champions that I haven't played around with. I might need to tweak their builds. Low on silver, as always, but I'm going to try to get in Fire Knight hard and see if I can at least do, like, I don't know, up to stage 5 or something to farm for this tournament. But as much stuff as I got going on in real life, we'll see. So yeah, but basically make sure you're abreast of that and that you're doing your Fire Knight runs to get those teacup points. Besides that, guys, we have another Queen's Fury tournament. I'm pumped about that. Very pumped, because I actually didn't know there was another one coming. I feel like that this event is going on and on and on and on. Like 2 videos ago, I thought that we were like most of the way through it. Clearly, I wasn't doing the math. Kind of been distracted the last couple weeks with a lot going on outside the game, you know, in real life. But I was like, whoa, there's like so much. This is like bigger than a fusion. I think there's more events than a fusion. I would say the resource drain is about the same. Some of the stuff seems a little bit easier to get to the teacup points than, like, say, the champion fragments or the epic or rare champions for a fusion, but it's feeling real similar. And my account is like screaming out that we need some relief because I'm just running out of resources left and right. I'm almost out of gems. I've been gemming energy. I've not been able to keep any silver, but and speaking of silver, let me switch the screen. This gear enhancement, wow, this is tough. This is high up here. 5,600 points is crazy. And I actually am a player who almost always sends gear to 16 solely when there's an event. So I've been ranking stuff up to 11 because getting those 11 to 12 points is not that much silver, but it's okay for points. Obviously, doing that versus 8 to 12 saves you a lot of silver, so you can just do more upgrades, because the upgrades only count when you're going from levels 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. So they don't count for every level. They count, boom, you get one when you get to level 4. It's almost nothing for points. Then another one at 8, then 12, then 16. But if you're at 12, 13 and 14 and 15 don't give you points. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, they need to change that. I don't really even know why that's a thing. That seems like it's just unnecessarily annoying. But with that being said, 11 to 12 is kind of the sweet spot for not burning a ton of silver outside the event, because getting to 15 can be a lot of silver. But there are some pieces I take to 15. What I'm getting at is that I usually have a fairly decent stash across different sets, even sometimes gear that's on champions that's either sitting at 11, that's usually in the locker, and then sometimes gear in the locker or on champions that's sitting at 15, and I still am like, I've barely scratched the surface of this event. Like, I'm not even remotely close to halfway through. I'm not even a third of the way through. That's wild. And it's 60. It's a good amount. But anyway, keep that in mind, guys. Moving on, we got the Dungeon Divers, which, to be quite frank, as much as Dungeon Divers suck, this one's easier than the Gear Enhancement event. Make sure you're doing that. That should be easy because there's dungeon tournaments going on constantly. And then, going back to the tournaments, watch out for this champion training, guys. Because if you're like me, champion training is easy and you're always behind on. You always need to be farming up new levels for champions. But this one dropping where it dropped, at least for me, I'm so resource depleted that I was like, oh my God, it took me burning through so much just to get, I'm about 5,500 down here. I got to get 500 more. That's not difficult. It's just difficult to do with no resources. So make sure that you don't let this one sneak up on you, because this is a long event. We still got over 3.5 days, but if you go like a day, you're like, oh, it'll be fine, and then you burn your resources on the freaking Fire Night tournament, and you come back and you're like, oh my God, you know, I gotta do this champion training. That one will deplete your resources faster than the IRS depletes your income bank account, okay? So make sure you don't forget this one and you get this done so that you can kind of like put it to rest in your mind, set a reminder, something. And remember, for those of you that are G's in the game and you always have food saved up, you might just be able to blow through this. But if you're like me, I usually try to have food saved up, but then I also don't like to only rank up champions, especially if I got a new one or if I want to try a new strategy. A lot of times I'll do those kinds of things during a CVC or outside events. So if you're like me, you ain't got no food saved up. You got like maybe 160 worth of food saved up. I do have food champions, but they need either silver, putting brews into them, or they need to run through campaign, which costs energy. So make sure that if you're like me and you don't stay stashed with, you know, a savings account of ready to go food champions, that you get this grind in and don't let this one slip past you. But yeah, guys, that's basically where I'm at. That's what my thoughts are on making sure that we keep track of this. And honestly, I'm kind of talking to myself here because as busy as I am, I feel like I keep having to triple, quadruple, quintuple check that I didn't forget an event that's ending tonight or something like that, that I'm then going to have to put on auto battles or stay up late to do blah, blah, blah. And I've done pretty good. I actually think that so far, the only teacup points I've missed were the 40 that I didn't get from the Deck of Fate, but I'm okay with that because I did about all I could do during that event, and it was not a particularly long event, so I just didn't have time to get more points or whatever, the Fate Lanterns, to flip more cards. So we're good on that. But since there's 250 extra, I believe that means that currently I still have the margin of 210. So I'm just going through the events that work for me. Luckily, because of those couple packs that I bought for shard pulling, that was able to get me all of the teacup points from the Summon Rush. So Vamp's count's looking good. Vamp's account is looking good. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this relic crafting, because I did not get much from the event worth writing home about, and I want a damn cat's gaze. I want to craft one. All right, so let's see what we can do here. Let's go. Oh! I just hit my mic. No way! Okay, not an event, guys, but that's a good, oh my God, that's a good ass relic. Wow, I'm so happy about that. I need to like process this because I knew that I knew the name aspect of Siroth, but I hadn't like fully read. I need to process like who I want this on, because this is for sure PvP and or HYDRA if it's a champion that's in both. That's awesome. That's so awesome. I wish it was the cat's case. I'm not gonna lie. Here we go again, talking about my damn break. Because of my break, I have like no relics. I literally had the tutorial rare one from Arbiter when I got back to the game. And so I'm very okay with getting a legendary relic that is not part of the event. As much as I would like the cat's case, that was hype. Let's see what we get here. More luck. Another HYDRA reserve. Okay, so basically, if I am like reading what this one does correctly, I need to start leveling up HP nukers, because apparently the game really, really wants me to use them, since that one is probably only useful for HP nukers. Another golden elixir. Nice. Wow. What luck, dude. This is crazy. Okay, so that's it for the masks right now. Okay. Well, I'll be looking for more masks in the events, guys. That was hype. Very pumped to get an aspect of Siroth. I want to go back and look at that again. It's just, that's so sick. That's so sick. And like, I don't know why, but I feel like Siroth and, you know, the very minimal lore behind the game in Raid Shadow Legends, Siroth is like this kind of cool cult entity, deity, whatever. And damn, they did the art cool on this one. But having something reference back to Siroth, when literally the last time I heard about Siroth, I believe was starting a new account and going through the campaign tutorial or the campaign like backstory again with the narrator. That was a really good relic crafting session. All right, guys, that's all for me. I hope you guys are doing as well as I am in the game. What does that even mean? I'm not even doing particularly good. I just feel good today, and I'm happy with the fact that I'm keeping up with the event. I hope you guys are too. That'll do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much. But guys, if you're enjoying the content, you know what it is. Small creator here. If you could smash that like button, that would be so great. I can't believe I just said smash that like button. That's like ingrained from watching YouTubers. I don't even like when people say that. If you guys would flip the like button, That sounded stupid. If you guys would hit the like button, just click it. Just a normal click is fine. That would be so awesome, guys. It obviously, as always, subscribes and comments also boost the algorithm. I'm trying to get out there in front of more people, get more views. Thank you guys so much for your support. As always, guys, take care. Happy rating. Go kick ass. Catch y'all in the next video.